Well, thank you. So, Mr. Gene Thompson, you're here from the Cayman Islands, and you've caught the attention of health officials who believe that there's something to be learned from what's happening in the Cayman Islands. Can you tell me what your definition of bundled pricing is?
Our definition of bundled pricing is a truly bundled price. So from the time you walk into the door of our hospital until the time you walk out, that is a bundled price. It includes absolutely everything, including food, imaging, the procedures, bed days, everything. The way that we actually did our bundled pricing is we did our pricing before the hospital was built and opened, so that actually when you leave the hospital, you don't get a bill, you get a statement.
Okay. How were you able to determine so definitively that this was the price that this service cost and it wasn't impacted by other elements going on?
So we use the model that Narayana Hospital uses in India. They have a high volume model where they're able to very specifically calculate cost. We use some pretty disruptive savings initiatives, protocols and procedures. And the one thing that we found is as we continue to use our bundled pricing and a reduced price, that we actually enhance our outcomes, not reduce our outcomes.
Okay. So people who live in the Cayman Islands are very used to this type of pricing, and there hasn't been any sort of disagreement or any sort of resistance to this?
Actually, we're a new model, and I think not only for our island, but for the region and the greater Americas. The model that we use in the island right now is a typical, CPT code system. But our model is based on the fully bundled price. And, there has been some resistance, but as we show the cost savings and the effectiveness of it and the simplicity of it, there's been very significant uptake and interest.
Mm-hmm. Have you looked at what is happening in the U.S. in terms of trying to achieve better results with more efficiency and lower price? What can be learned from you, do you think, that can be easily implemented here in the U.S.?
See, our model is based on the Indian model. The Indian model is very high volume, very low cost, and very, very much enhanced outcomes. And what we did is we sought to bring what we've learned from that part of the world and implement it into a quote-unquote high cost basis area, which is our part of the world. Our part of the world, it's much more expensive, labor is more expensive, power is more expensive, all of the other things. And we're not able to match the Indian price by any means. But what we're able to do is give a cost savings somewhere in the region of about 60 to 70% off of Western cost savings, Western cost.
Okay. Before you implemented the Indian model, did you have another type of pricing model that was in existence in the Cayman Islands?
It's not only the Cayman Islands, but the region. We followed relatively similar systems to the U.S. model or to the Western model, to the model in the Americas.
Okay, so how difficult or easy was it to transfer to the Indian model?
It was not real difficult for us because it's the only model building a new system it's the model we predicated our new system on. We built our new system. It's called Health City Cayman Islands. What was difficult were for the payees to understand how you can implement a model, or how do you implement a model that does not have CPT codes and the typical coding. And one of the areas that is significant in healthcare costs is the administrative overhead, the accounting, and all the rest of those things. Our model eliminates a big part of that. For instance, our hospital, we have 104 beds, and we have 3 people in our entire billing department because we don't create bills, we create only statements. So it's a pretty unique model. The insurers, some of them have more of a challenge with it to understand it. But it is slowly being accepted in this part of the world. We actually have several big systems in the U.S. Our partners, Ascension Health, they're on board with this and trying to understand what we're doing. So it's starting to become more accepted.
Mm-hmm. Well, what else haven't I asked, do you think that would be useful for people here to know now that people are searching for better solutions for both providers and for customers?
You see, we feel that cost cannot be, our bundled price is a great thing, but we feel that cost cannot only be looked at in an isolated measure. It has to be looked at in a sum total. Cost has to be looked at in every single aspect of healthcare, which allows us to provide a lower cost and a bundled rate. And in addition to that, we have a very protocol-based system. So everything is very regimented. It's almost like a factory. Our founders referred to as the Henry Ford of heart surgery because it's very protocol-driven.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.